Hey, how's it going, guys? This is David from ConMenRDW here, and welcome to another video where me and my creator homie Opti, say hi Opti.
What's going on, everybody?
Yeah, we are here talking about Potionomics provided by XSEED Games, so much appreciated to XSEED Games for the game code. Potionomics is available on Steam currently for $25, which is actually a very surprising price, honestly, for a game that has so much content in it, but we will get into that. Opti, for the people listening out there, what is Potionomics?
So, Potionomics, I would almost hesitate to call it a deck builder game, but deck building is just one part of it. It's a lot about resource and time management, about running a potion shop that you inherit from an estranged family member with some strings attached, and you running the potion shop successfully basically involves getting through those strings. And it's the main way that you make money is through haggling and through a deck that you build that comes with different haggling techniques. And outside of that, you have to manage relationships, manage friendships, and manage connections to help build better potions and overcome the competition.
That was a really good summary, Opti. Thank you. That was really good. That was really good, actually.
I got you.
So yeah, but Potionomics is kind of like a game that's a hybrid of things. It's like a RPG, shop simulator, dating sim, and a card battle game, all wrapped into one. And at first, when you hear those things, you don't think they work that well together, but they actually pull it off in a very good way. Like personally, I'm not big into shop sim games or like simulation games like that. I don't play a lot of like farming sims and things, but apparently when I'm running a shop, I'm okay. Games like Moonlighter, where you're also running a shop, but that's more like a dungeon crawler type game. This is shop simulator plus, but it's like a lot more in depth too, because you get to like actually mix the potions. You're managing not only your money, but also your time, your relationships, and there's like a lot of layers here. And then also, like we mentioned, there's the card battling aspect where you have to also manage your deck to go into situations, which is basically the haggling part of selling the potions, and there's like a whole bunch in there, which we will get into. But yeah, like Opti said, synopsis of the game: you are Sylvia, who is the protagonist that you're playing as, and she is a witch, and she inherits the potion shop from her uncle Oswald, who lives on this island called Rafta, which was pretty much ravaged by a witch queen. There's a lot of like fantasy in here, which I really like actually. And pretty much after the witch queen dies, everyone starts living on this island. Have you seen Owl House, Opti?
I seen
It
Owl
makes
House?
me think of Owl House a little bit in the prop, where it's
I
just
can
like a
see it,
yeah, like a sunken owls type of thing.
And a lot of it, because all the magic within the game that you use to make potions is based on the fact that the island itself is imbued with magic, which has a lot to do with Owl House as well.
So if you like Owl House, you will love Potionomics. Lots of like cool witchy characters, lots of fantasy and stuff like that. But then basically, yeah, you inherit the potion shop, and when she gets there, it's pretty much run down. It's abandoned. He's been actually dead for years for some unknown reason that we haven't gotten to yet. So that's a big part of the mystery. And a debt collector witch comes in and says that you have inherited not only the potion shop, but also the 1 million gold debt that your uncle left behind. And that's amazing. So then she soul binds you to the contract of the 1 million gold. So now you have no choice but to make enough money to break that debt. And you're basically starting literally from the ground and going up from there. Below ground, actually. Like, you are just in debt. So this game is very
fresh
real.
Out of college, too.
Literally, yeah, fresh out of college. But yeah, and then you also end up meeting an owl who was living on the rafters of the potion shop, named Owl, appropriately. And then the owl can talk, of course, because as owls often do, and tells you that there is a potion competition happening over the next 50 days, and every 10 days there is a new round in that competition, and then in each round you're basically fighting other potion makers that are on the island of Rafta, and each time you win, you have money that can go towards the debt, and then you pay off the debt by winning the competitions. But it is not that easy, because you're literally just like Sylvia. You don't know nothing about selling potions. You're going into this blind, and you're learning as you go, actively. So, yeah, how did the opening of the game... Well, actually, I think I should preface this with, me and Opti have not finished this game. This game has for $25. This game has a lot of content. This game is deep. This game has a lot of
Yeah.
stuff going on, a lot of moving parts.
For context, I have I'm on day 18 of 50. I have no idea if after the last competition you get to keep playing, but I'm on day 18 of 50, getting ready to go into the second competition, and I have 13 hours in game. So right now, my initial run is looking like it's going to be about 25 to 30 hours of all this micromanaging and min-maxing and trying to figure things out. So yeah, $25 is not
insane. It's a deal.
Yeah, and I say that as somebody, like Dave mentioned, I was provided a copy of the game by XSEED. I had already put money aside, and then the day before, I was messaged to say, check your email, and I did, and was happily surprised. And it's a lot more than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be just kind of a straightforward cutesy adventure, but it kind of checks a lot of boxes for me in terms of management sims, because I'm a big fan of things like Cult of the Lamb was another one that came out this year that has a management sort of a management aspect
town
to
builder
it
type of thing.
Yeah, but you also have to manage resources for the town, resources for powering yourself up, and then also the dungeon crawler elements, and then other travel elements during a real-time like day and night cycle. And that in itself was kind of a nifty blend of all those mechanics. And Potionomics is again another game like that, where all of that is put perfectly well together and feels like it's done very naturally.
Yeah, for sure. Like in terms of, so for me, coming from a gameplay perspective, I'm not big in, like I said earlier, I'm not big into like simulation games. I'm more so like a platformer action game, like racing, fighting. Simulation games are usually at the bottom of my personal totem pole, but it's the the art style and the aesthetic of this game really drew me in. The character designs are amazing. The animation on the characters is super like other than the other work to think of, it's very animated. And also like I haven't looked into it, but I don't know who made the models for the characters, because it's been driving me insane, because the art style looks very familiar. So it's really a lot of different elements, and also like I said, the card battling as well makes it to where even if you don't play a lot of games where you have to manage your time and manage resources super heavily like that, I also do like visual novel games or story-driven games. I do like card-based games like Hearthstone, Marvel Snap, like Runeterra and stuff like that. So those additional elements being layered on top of and mixed so well with the simulation is what really has me invested. I'm 9.5 hours in, according to Steam, but I have not made it to day 18 yet. I think I'm on day 12. But it took me like 2 to 3 personal tries to get through the first tournament arc in order to get past that, because like I said, managing the time, managing everything else, managing relationships becomes a big part of the game, and if you do not have that down pat, you will have to struggle a little bit. But it's a good struggle though. I'm really enjoying myself. I'm learning something. I'm learning actively as I'm going.
Yeah, it is absolutely a learning experience. This game is actually deceptively tough because it has a very endearing art style, and it does ease you into it, but things pick up very quickly. And it reminds me a bit of I mentioned Darkest Dungeon earlier. It actually reminds me a little bit of Darkest Dungeon with the management aspect, but also because a lot of people don't realize this going into the game Darkest Dungeon, you might have to reset your Hamlet a few times because you get so far along, but because you've been learning so much and not actually making the big successes you need, but making the minor ones about like learning through trial and error. Potionomics is a lot of that. You learn what cards are good to put in your deck to haggle. And if you're confused about how haggling works with a card deck, each card that you draw has a thing like one of them is like a scheme, and it's literally called scheme, and you draw extra cards because you're like scheming up something to do. One of them is called planting a seed. So it's you putting a seed down that's not literally, but like the idea of putting it into the customer's mind that you're going to be doing something good to help sell, like while you're selling this potion to them. And so like all of these things represent different aspects of like mercantilism and bartering. And that aspect of it is probably the biggest learning curve next to learning how to get your ingredients, because you're taught, oh, you can use potions to outfit heroes and then pay them to go out and get you stuff for your ingredients. You can pay for expeditions for people to go out and imports and all these other things. Learning how to balance learning how to balance making the right potions, using your ingredients to make potions for people to get sent out with, versus making potions for selling is a precarious balance, because it's like, do I need the gold directly to upgrade my shop and get better ingredients? Is it better to send these folks out so I can get new ingredients? And learning that is really, really key. And like you said, balancing your relationships is really important, because you have to upgrade your relationships. You have to put time into them, because that's how you get better cards for your deck from all of the other salesmen and heroes and influencing people in that world. You have to do those things, not just on a romantic level, but on a professional level between the two.
Yeah, like even with like my first initial playthrough, like I was going through, the game has a really good pace of teaching you the base mechanics as you're going through those first 10 days. And like Aula's a really good supporting character. Like they're teaching you about like all the different like magimins, which are basically magic vitamins that that are inside of each of the ingredients for making these potions. And then also as you meet new characters, they also give you other like different elements into the gameplay as well. I think we should probably delve very heavily into the gameplay loop really quick, because there's a lot of, like Opti was saying, there's a lot of different layers here, like one of which is time management, which is like obviously even in real life you're managing your time the best way you can. In this game you're managing the time the best way you can, and it becomes a little overwhelming if you're not doing things the right way. And I actually felt like that's one thing that really messed me up in my first run. And also the game also knows that it can be tricky because it has autosaves every day. So then it's like when you hit a certain point where you have to reset, it can go back to a specific day. If you're like, okay, I was fine here, and then I felt like I started falling off on like day 7 or whatever, right? So pretty much every single day has 6 time slots. And then everything that you do in the game, whether it's opening the shop, traveling to somebody to do business or talk to them, hanging out with characters, each of them takes a specific amount of time. And also even like brewing potions, those take time as well. So you have to manage what you're doing over the course of the day so you can get the most out of each day, where it's like, do I want to open up shop for these 2 hours, and then in the meantime I also have some potions brewing that are taking 2 hours, so when I'm done selling I can go and bottle those potions that I had, or I can go and buy stuff, I can go and open shop, and then I can go out and meet people and do some shopping, then come back. There's a lot of like managing that type of stuff too.
Yeah, making sure it is very much a multitasker's game, and trying to balance those things, because you can set potions to be brewing, and then while they're brewing, like you said, you can open up your shop, but then you can also say, you could make the decision to say, you know what, I want to add some fuel to my fire to make the potions brew a little bit faster, or I'm just going to let this one brew for like 5 straight in-game hours out of 6 and run around and do a whole bunch of stuff to level up relationships, to get more cards, to also send out your heroes that are also going to be gathering during that time.
Yeah.
And it like, you know, like I was saying like a little bit earlier, that it's unforgiving, but you mentioning the autosave thing was really big. I actually saw a Twitter conversation where somebody added Potionomics. I was like, I love this game, but I feel like I'm stuck. I'm now basically soft locked because I'm stuck in an infinite loop because my potions weren't good enough for the first competition. And they said every single day, the very beginning of the day, you have an autosave. So with like no actions taken on day 3, day 5, day 6, you can go back. So you don't have to reset your entire game. You can just pick and choose that. And it sort of goes into like the narrative of learning from your mistakes in a lot of this, and kind of figuring things out. I was on day like 14, and I was like, I felt so like I had failed so much. I'm like, there's no way I can win this competition. I reset the day, redid everything I had done that day. I repeated the things that I wanted to do, and I changed out some other things that weren't so good. And I set myself up for the next day to make more gold than I had made in the previous every single day put together. And that little bit of backtracking from what you learned can do a lot for you.
Oh yeah, for sure. Um, and let's start talking about the relationship with the characters, or in general, like the supporting cast of characters, because
Oh,
there's
yes.
so many, and each one is memorable. Each one is written so well, and it's also like every single character not only is just a great supporting character to the plot and also just conversationally, but they're also like in-game relevant too. So every character matters so far in this game. Which I think is a really cool thing that they do in the game is when you're in your shop selling things, all the NPC characters basically come in, like all the basic stock like villagers, merchants, things like that. They come in, they're looking away from camera, but if they're supporting main cast, they're looking towards camera and they have actually like a face and more intricate design. So I thought that was a really cool touch. But yeah, let's go down line for like at least first 10 days worth of characters, right? So we got Quinn, the ingredient seller, Trash Witch Quinn. And Quinn is the one who you'll meet first. They sell ingredients in the shop that is literally above your shop, I guess. They're just like hanging out on their broomstick with their really cool. They have a mimic pet, and the pet mimic has all of the ingredients in their mouth. So you're basically just shopping from out of their mimic, which is really cool to me. And also Quinn has like that kind of edgy personality, like the lazy, mischievous type of character. So if you like those type of archetypes, that's exactly what Quinn is. How do you feel about Quinn, Opti?
Quinn's very endearing. Very much they come off as like just lazy character, but they're very much a shrewd business person. And my Twitch chat is in love with Quinn, but my love lies elsewhere. Quinn, I enjoy as like from like a friendship level. Quinn's really cool. The thing I like about Quinn's character is they keep mimics. Like not just one, they have multiple mimics. The box that you look in to like buy all your ingredients is a mimic. Their hat is a mimic. They have several of them like hanging around on their broom, like underneath their broom in a basket. And they actually give you a type of mimic later in the game that I won't spoil.
Cool. Quinn's dope. And then you also end up meeting Mint, who is like one of my personal favorite characters so far. Mint is like the plucky, bright-eyed, like new adventurer type character. She also is new to Rafta, just like Sylvia, and like she's super positive and dorky. And she's like really new into the guild adventurer scene. So she's always talking about how she's adored adventurers ever since she was a kid. She had like the trading cards, all that type of. She's basically the Deku of this game, but in like female form. So she's.
I can see that. I can see that actually.
And also she is like, not only is she adorable, but she also is like low key strong and uses a hammer as her main weapon. So that's cool as shit to me. So.
Love Quinn. That you touched upon something. I adore Mint. She was the first one I was going to romance, and then a later person came along. But Mint is really adorable. And the thing that you touched on was that she had trading cards of heroes. They actually have done, without kind of like making it a haha look, we're trying to relate to the current generation. They do a lot of stuff with the narrative of this game, where they've applied modern concepts to like this like beautiful, vibrant fantasy realm, where like heroes are like star athletes and actors who have trading cards. Bards are like rock stars and singers. There are there's a quote unquote social media influencer that you get to meet later in the game.
Cool.
And she's very indicative of kind of like the hustle and bustle of trying to be like an internet creative. And none of it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't beat you over the head with it. It's written very well, and it fits kind of naturally into that world of yes, danger, but also an overwhelming sense of like positivity that I think comes with the first initial look if you were to just go on the Steam page and take a look at it.
Let's see. Up next we got Muktuk, who is the swole Walrus tribe man who is always shirtless and is the manly gentleman type. So I like Muktuk too. He has the aesthetic and he has the writing to where I feel like he has the "in from home country" He has like the Russian accent type of thing going on. So he's cool. He's the one who will sell you like cauldron upgrades and shelf upgrades and things. Also, we mentioned before with Mint, she's the one who you can send out on adventurous stuff to go and like get ingredients. Then we got Baptiste, who is the pretty boy bartender, guild master for the adventurous guild that Mint works at. He's like the super like hosty personality type of person. He like comes from he like tells you he comes from money, but he also is very hardworking and stuff like that. So he's endearing in that way. Very gentlemanly and like very kind of like a flirty personality a little bit too, like the pretty boy
He's
type.
a Casanova, 100%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And
100%.
and he's the one you talk to in order to pretty much different from Mint, where you send her out to fight enemies and come back, and you also use potions on her. With him, you talk to Baptiste, and you basically he has quests or like how would you describe this, Opti? Like you give him money and then
So basically it's like sending out like a convoy of heroes out into an area. So instead of paying one hero and outfitting them, you're spending a specific amount of money, or rather you get to choose how much money you want to put into it, and then they go out and get you one specific ingredient. And the more money that you put into it, the better chance you have of getting that ingredient and a rare ingredient.
Yeah,
there is
yeah.
a downside to it though, because the amount of time, and this is actually true for not just this like expedition person, but any of the other heroes you send out. When you send heroes out into the environment to collect stuff, that can disrupt the environment and therefore yield less loot on other days.
Which is a really cool mechanic that they decided to even like implement that. So it's like a risk and reward type of thing, not only just for your money and also your for your money and your resources, but also like for your opportunity to get resources later, which is really cool thing that they implemented into that. Then we got Roxanne, who is the first rival witch character you'll meet. Who is someone that lots of people are waiting for fan art to get to. The Busty Witch
Yeah.
potion rival. The potion mommy is my chat was calling her. The Bayonetta, but make it Potionomics.
Yes. Yeah, actually, that's probably
Yeah.
the most apt description of Roxanne is Bayonetta potion maker.
Mm-hmm. And then she's like the super snarky rival character who will literally she walks up into the shop, and then Sylvia's like, "Oh, welcome to the shop. Oh, it's cool to meet another potion maker." And then Roxanne immediately starts shit talking you. Like she immediately is just like, "I never said we were friends, but also don't like take me lightly either. Like I will actually crush you every time." She just walks into your property, talks shit, and leaves multiple times. So it's great. She's a great character. And then she becomes also more involved into the game later on. But yeah, she's a great character. And then also last character you meet in the first 10 days, Saffron, who's super chill. Saffron's cool. Was she a faunus? I'm not sure what
she's a satyr, yes.
A satyr? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Or faunus, yes. She's I don't know if they mentioned Saffron's pronouns, but regardless, Saffron has my whole heart. It was Mint, and then much to my chat's chagrin, I fell absolutely in love with Saffron.
Yeah, I can see it. Saffron is the walks into Home Depot, and then the Home Depot employee is like, "Can I help?" It's like, "I know more than you," and just keeps walking type of character. Smokes a cool ass pipe like from the jump. Is like a hippy dippy handy woman is what I put in my notes, and also is just one with nature. Teaches Sylvia how to like relax and de-stress, and just enjoy the quiet of nature instead of like the hustle and bustle of the city life and stuff like that. And then also Saffron's the person who is the person you can go to make more cauldrons and also upgrade shelves and stuff in your shop. And very important, I still have not bought a new cauldron upgrade from her. I am broke. I can't.
Muktuk does the cauldron upgrades, but Saffron does do the upgrades that allow you to have a second and eventual third cauldron, and then they also give it so you can have more shelves. And you actually touched upon something that I don't think we talked about, was that Saffron, the more you level up Saffron, the cards that they give your deck are all about relaxing. There is a stress mechanic in the game that is not entirely encompassing and overwhelming. To go back to the example I've done twice, it's not Darkest Dungeon's sanity / stress mechanic. It's not that intense and over-encumbering. Yes. I'm on day 18 and it's kind of starting to, but not really that badly. But all of the characters, when you upgrade their relationships, and there are pathways, but like different points in the relationships where you make dialogue decisions that can give you those cards. Saffrons are all related to relaxing and de-stressing, and not only yourself, but the customer that you're trying to haggle with. And that's the same for a lot of the other ones. Quinn is very a shrewd business witch, so a lot of the things that you get are about that shrewdness. Roxanne is kind of a bit sneaky and underhanded, and so the ones that you get from her are about that like background in, like, I don't want to say insidiousness or maliciousness, but just maybe kind of making the pot seem a little sweeter than it actually is. So all of the characters have cards that are specific, that have mechanics that are specific to their character, and I think that all of the things are so intricately interweaved on that level, and just all of the mechanics make sense. The internal consistency between everything that you do is really, really cool to see, and it can be a really hard balance to strike, and they've done it really well.
And that's where it's like, when you get a game through a code for free, shout out to XSEED Games. When you get a game for free, you don't bother to look at how much it costs. And if I never looked at the price, I would assume this is at least a $40 game, but it's $25. That is so affordable and so low for the amount of stuff that is in this game. Like,
it sounds like we're shilling, but it's
no,
for real.
It's crazy. It's because there's all these, and this is a game that is not only like we mentioned before, the more you play it, the more you understand how mechanics work. So you're getting through the game, and then say you beat the game in maybe like however many hours, right? Then you're like, I want to play through this again, because I know I can do better next time, and I will do things more efficiently. Also, I will ship different people. I will do all these different things differently, and it's like, I feel like this is a game where if you beat it once, you want to do it again, and it's a very replayable experience. So I think that that's something that the game has going for it, and that's also why I want to personally fight through the stresses of the early stages of it, because I know I will get better with it. Because even like right now, because every time you go to a tournament arc part of the game, you have to have a certain type of potion ready for that. So example, in the first tournament, you have to have a fire, mana, and health potion ready that is tier 2 and at least 3 stars. Every time you put certain type of ingredients inside of your cauldron, that levels it up to a specific tier level based on like the amount of magimins and magic energy that's inside of those ingredients. And if you mix and match things of different qualities and different magimin levels, that pretty much makes the potion more worthwhile, right? So pretty much as you're going through the game, you're learning how to get certain ingredients more efficiently, because like if you like use Mint to send her out and get ingredients, or you use Baptiste to have heroes go out and get specific things, you can then give those ingredients, if you have at least one, to Quinn, who will then use their clairvoyance to find those ingredients like in their own runs, and then the next day they'll actually just have those ingredients ready to sell to you. And then also based on other things, like when you send out heroes, or based on random in-game events, because every day the climate changes in the day where there's like different events going on passively. Sometimes some ingredients will be worth more money or less money. So then it's like, should I buy this ingredient today? Should I buy this ingredient tomorrow? There's like a lot of moving pieces. And as you learn how to manage those elements, and then also there's still a lot of things in this game that I don't even know about yet. Once you understand how all of that works and it clicks, you can go back in and manage it perfectly the second time or third time around. So this game has a lot of legs to it. It has a lot of legs to it.
Yeah, to sort of speak to two things is, one, the replayability for this game is incredibly high, because if you're focusing on one person for a romantic interest, and then you're focusing on maybe a couple other individuals for just like a business / friendship relationship, you're getting those specific cards from those higher tier relationships. The next time you play the game, if you decide to go a completely different route and romance a different person and have more important relationships with a different like merchant, what you're going to have is a whole completely different deck to haggle with. You're going to also have different random events that pop up, and you're going to have to adjust your strategies based on those. So you can find like a niche way to play through the game, but then go back through and have a completely different experience. It's like doing a different build in an RPG like Skyrim or Dark Souls. You're going to, the core experience of exploration and adventure and moving forward is going to be the same, but the way that you tackle each obstacle is going to be different. And the other point I want to touch on is we're talking a lot about the number of systems in this game. None of them are, there are certain things that I don't even really touch excessively, and I'm still making through the game just fine. Like, there is the ability to put certain potions in your front window to attract more customers and better customers. I put 3 potions in there and I forget about them. I don't worry about it.
I don't even have a good enough shelf to where it even matters yet, so I don't even put them there. So it's like,
yeah, like there's just a lot. Like, we're talking about a lot of these systems, and they're implemented well enough that even if you, as long as you utilize them on a like a basic level of understanding, you're going to do fine, because your expertise that you're building up in other areas is actually going to compensate for that. So you don't have to feel entirely overwhelmed, and all of these systems are rolled out to you over time. It's not, it doesn't just throw it in the deep end. You're not playing like Stellaris right off the bat. You are just it's just one step at a time. You learn how to haggle very first thing, you learn how to potion make very first thing, and they let you kind of do that for a little bit, and then each little thing is just, it's another like piece of, it's a toolkit in your tool in your toolkit for you to have, rather than a essential mechanic.
Yeah. But yeah, like I think we pretty much touched on most of the main meat of Potionomics, and like we said, we're not even out of like 2/5 of the game yet, out of like the whole thing. And there's like so much that we've gathered and so much that we've experienced in the game where we can literally with confidence recommend this game to y'all, because it is legit good. It's legit good. So again, shout out to XSEED Games and Potionomics and the devs, and yeah, for making an awesome game that we were able to get a code for and play to talk about to you all. I know Opti has been playing it a lot over on his Twitch channel, which hashtag shameless plug yourself, Opti, go.
My name's Optimistic Gamer. I am well, I'm made out of anime, as you can see, but other than that, my community is one based in charity. We run charity streams throughout the year, and then I do fun, cool incentives based on what we raise funds for and based on how much we raise. And every dollar goes to cool, wonderful, beautiful organizations all over the world for a number of causes. Goes a little bit in hand with Potionomics. I also study mythology, which is what my channel is based on. I love learning about lore. I love learning about culture, and the fantasy world of Potionomics is definitely one that's just brewing with so much in it, and I cannot recommend it enough.
I can tell you felt good about that brewing thing in there. That was good.
I had that one locked and loaded. I was ready for that one.
But yeah, and then also my name is David over at ConMenRDW, but you're already here, so you already know that. But I'm also over on Twitch at ConMenRDW, and then I have a whole bunch of other social channels down below. I focus mainly on gaming, travel, since I am the con man. I go to a lot of conventions, and then also a lot of other things, pop culture, anime, comics, all sorts of different media. So if you like any of those things, you can head over to my channel on both YouTube and Twitch and follow me on my socials as well. But also follow Opti, because he's awesome. And we both be making all sorts of content and playing games just like Potionomics. So if you want to catch those things, just follow us on our channels. And appreciate y'all for watching this video and listening in. So we will see you on the next video, next time, next game. Bye.
A good one.